Hi and welcome to VeloGPS. In this video we're going to demonstrate the round-trip routing feature on the Garmin Edge 1030. So before we dive in we just need to make a few quick checks and changes to the settings for navigation. So if we select the settings option at the bottom and then we choose the profile that we wish to amend, so we're going to hit road, and then within our road profile we need to find the navigation option and we select that, and then within navigation we choose the routing option. And here we then have a number of options for how the unit will carry out routing and calculation. So firstly we have popularity routing. Now popularity routing is a new feature on the Edge 1030 that leverages data from Garmin Connect and all of the rides that are uploaded to it to ensure that the routes that are calculated with the 1030 take the best possible roads. So that's an option that we want to have ticked. We then have routing modes within which we can choose road cycling, mountain biking and a variety of other options. So we will choose road cycling. Then calculation methods looks at whether the 1030 minimises distance, time or ascent over any route that may be calculated. So we will choose to minimise distance. We can choose to lock on road, and then avoidance setup is another useful function where you can choose to avoid major highways, unpaved roads, or narrow trails. So any of these options here, and you literally turn them on and off by selecting the slider to the right. And then finally, a useful feature to just quickly dwell on is the recalculation. So if you do stray from a course that you're riding, the Edge 1030 will let you know, and then it prompts you, or it has the option to automatically recalculate the route, or give you a prompt to say would you like the route recalculating, or just to ignore the fact that you've strayed from the course. So we tend to go for prompted, and the reason we select prompted is it will just ask you whether you want to recalculate, and it may be that you've already realised and that actually turning around very quickly is the easiest option and you don't want the Edge 1030 to do a recalculation. So once you've got those options selected, we're going to head back to the main screen and check out round-trip routing. So firstly we need to select the navigation icon, and within navigation we're going to choose courses, and then we're going to choose a round-trip course. So we now have an option to select the distance, the start location and the start direction for our route. So distance we're just going to update and shorten to 15 miles just to make the demonstration quicker. And then we hit the tick icon at the bottom. Start location can be our current location. We can use a map to drop a pin and select where we're going to start from. But we're going to use search tools and we're going to choose addresses, but you can choose points of interest or other options that are here. So within addresses, we just let the Edge 1030 know that we are in England, and we're going to choose to enter a city or postal code. So we can now enter where we want to start, and we're going to choose a little village nearby called Crondall. Hopefully this should auto-populate once we're part way through. So there we have Crondall in Surrey, we'll select that. The option to enter a house number, well we don't know where we're going to go house-wise, so we just select the tick icon again. And then the street name, we know that there's a street called Pankridge Street. And hopefully again it should auto-populate. There we go, we now have Pankridge Street and we select that. Okay, so this is now showing us where Pankridge Street is, the pin in the middle of the map here, and we can zoom in to just make sure that it's right. We'll zoom in a little bit more so you see the map is quite detailed. Couple more zooms. There we go, we can see that our start point is Pankridge Street in Crondall. So we're going to use that. And then the final option that we have is start direction. So what this is asking is, does the 1030 want to calculate a route for us that heads north, east, south or west from that start location? Well, we're going to let the Edge 1030 make its own mind up, so we're going to select the none option. So we've finally entered all of the details. We've got a 15-mile round-trip route starting from Pankridge Street, heading in any direction. And we're going to give the 1030 just a couple of quick minutes to calculate that out, and we'll fast forward whilst it does so. Okay, so the 1030's come up with 3 possible routes there. They all seem to be roughly around the 13 to 14 mile mark, but we do have a slight variation in elevation. So route 1 looks to be around 260 metres of elevation, route 2 150 metres of elevation, and route 3 119 metres of elevation. So to look at those routes, we just tap on them to select. So route 1, we now get a map showing an overlay of the route, and giving us details at the top again of 13 odd miles and 260 metres of elevation. Now if we want to look at the elevation profile, you can just see a little elevation icon at the bottom left here. So if we select that, it takes us to a plot of the elevation over the distance of the ride. So we can see that there's a bit of a hill at the end of those 13 miles. So if we now want to look at routes 2 and 3, we can either use the arrows at the top to scroll between them, or we can select the back icon at the bottom. So we can choose route 2 here. And again, it's an overlay of the course on the map. And you can see that we have a starting point at the pin up in Pankridge Street in the top right here. And again, you can select the elevation profile, but what we're going to do is we're just going to scroll across to have a look at route 3 from the top. And route 3, again, 13 miles and about 119 metres of elevation. So we can see an overlay of the course, and it looks like the pin is possibly in the bottom left here for the start location. And if we want to look at the elevation profile for this one, we simply click on, and okay, it's a slightly flatter elevation but with a little climbing towards the end. So if we're happy with that route, what we do is we select the ride option to start riding that course, but remembering to always hit the start stop button at the bottom right hand side, otherwise you won't record your ride. So in a few quick minutes, that's how to set up the round trip routing feature on the Garmin Edge 1030. If you've liked the video, be sure to subscribe for plenty more videos to come.